Steve Evans, lovely day out there, but it is transfer deadline day, so that's where we'll start. What's the latest on any incomings or outgoings?
Well, probably to be unlikely that we've got any outgoings. Young Reece Am, he may leave the club today, and he's got a couple of opportunities to pursue, particularly one overseas and one lower down the pyramid. So I've left Leon Hunter in discussions with Reece and his people, and if he's here beyond the deadline, that's fine. He's got himself fully fit now, he's ready to go, so that's good. As you know, we've had offers in for 5 players in total. To date, as far as I say here this morning, the chairman has turned them down. He is on a flight as we speak, heading to the UK, so maybe they're going to go in there. I wouldn't expect any movement out. We're still hopefully maybe doing one late in, but we're in a mix with other clubs, so we'll see where that lands today. But if I said 2 weeks ago and I said a week ago, if the window closes today and we've kept who we've kept, then I'll be a happy manager.
I would imagine that the final decision on whether a player leaves and whether an offer is good enough lies solely with Phil Wallace.
But right, the chairman and the board, of course, Leon has an input in that I do, but we don't set values. The board would ask us our opinion on values of players and whether that value would meet the football demand, if you like, and then they make the financial decisions. But if it was just a straight whether a player stays or goes or not, would be my decision, and totally lies at my door. But in respect to finance, that has to lie with the board.
You should talk as well about a late in. Are we talking a sort of Harvey White's, everyone's gone to bed and that kind of late?
Harvey was a late one. I can remember phoning a kid at like 10:30 at night and trying to get it over the line. But no, from our point of view, it's when I say it's a late one because there's 3 or 4 at the table trying to sign this particular player, and it's not about whether we can meet the demands of the other club because that's already satisfied. It's just about where that player decides, if he decides to leave his club, because he wasn't convinced on that when I had a brief chat yesterday with him. So is he convinced to leave the parent club where he's at now and go out with a permanent deal and choose one of the 4 or 5 that's in League One in from them? We'll see. So, but I'll repeat, we're not going to be doing any late deals other than someone coming to the market that wasn't at the market as of last night or as of this morning, and and I know that can happen. Harvey White wasn't in the marketplace to do a permanent deal at 5 o'clock last window at 5 o'clock, but by 9 o'clock he was going to be available. So that's just about what other clubs do with their business, how it can impact on us. But I'm not expecting any late night drama. But sometimes in this game you realise when you're not expecting any, you get some.
It seems to have been a very quiet window. Even rumours seem to have been sort of off.
Yeah, I think you look at the top level of the game and it always filters down, whether that's transfer fees, whether it's VAR, whether it's officials, whether it's anything. They all seem to circle their way down. And I think obviously the amount of clubs that have got in trouble with its financial fair play, there's already a couple of clubs being dealt with. You've seen a couple of more being charges levied against them, and that'll go where it goes. And if you listen to rumour and what we working in our industry, there's going to be a few more. So I think when you see the money stagnate a little bit at the top level, it's going to stagnate as it comes down the levels. There's been some good solid movement probably in the last 40 hours in League One. Some really good players, and as you would expect, it tends to be the big clubs with the big resources that can still be afford to go out there. You got obviously the Pompey owners woken up in the last 5 days and spent his money, but a real good owner. I think they've got a big project down there with infrastructure, etc. But they made some super signings. Charlton, I'll still be signing players today. They've not signed enough for the 6 or 7 they've got. And that will continue all the way through those top clubs. Bolton have been very active. Barnsley and LSE are going to be active. So they're all trying to strengthen. But we have to look inside. We have to look at what's an option for us to sign and whether that genuinely strengthens us. Do they walk in the door and be really considered to start on Saturday against Blackpool? That's the first question that Phil Wallace would ask me yesterday when we were speaking about players. Would he start? Because Phil was getting his check out. It's never a problem here. His check out coming out, it's never a problem. And he'll always supportive. But quite right, for the other good chairman I've worked for, there's always a question to be asked whether they'll play, where they'll play, and who'll come out of the team for him getting in. He doesn't judge that. He just asks opinions and then makes the financial decisions along with the rest of the board.
Talk about League One clubs signing players. Blackpool, I believe, have signed a couple and even one this morning. Does that alter the way you've prepared for this week? Have you
Well, we don't know if the kid from Southampton will play. He was carrying a lot not coming out of Shrewsbury when he was a Southampton boy. George Barrett coming out of Sheffield Wednesday if they get George. He's a really, really good player. Played against my side many times for Wednesday. Good player. We can't affect anything that Neil Critchley or Blackpool do, other than when it comes 3 o'clock on Saturday, and then we can affect it. What I know is we're looking forward to a game against a club that's been in the Premier League, that's a lot of Championship football, that had big ambitions. To go in, to lose Neil Critchley to the Steven Gerrard project, if I can call it that, at Villa, and then go and get Neil back, he's a good man, I know him very well, he's a good man, he's a fantastic coach. Listen, they're not getting him back on a whim, they're having to invest quite heavily in Neil and then support him in the window, and I'm told they're really good owners. From Neil last time we got battered up there 3-0, but I sat with Neil after the game and had a beer, and he was telling me how good and backing that he gets from the owners up there. So that's what's happening in this window. So, but we'll have a normal group, if you like, if we don't add to it. And despite the fact that every team under the sun calls us this and calls us that, they still all want to take our players. As we've seen, 5 confirmed written offers for different players. And multiple options to take players on loan, but I don't know where they come from there when you have clubs mid-table in League One phoning up asking if a player would like to go on loan to them, and they're mid-table behind us in League One and they're playing for us in top end of League One. So, but they probably think they can come and plunder the apples off the tree, don't they? No chance. Go away. No chance.
You mentioned Blackpool and the game up there. I mean, yes, there was that incident on half-time, the goal disallowed. But it was one of those few games this season.
Oh, listen, we were terrible. I mean, Blackpool were good. Let's put this in context. We obviously go back and look at these things periodically, and particularly up to the game. We were howling. We were poor from start to finish. Blackpool were very good. The big players turned up on the day, but there is big clear factors. We scored a perfectly good goal right on half time to make it 1-1. That can be. Probably might not have been, but it could have been a game changer. They go in deflated, they've had total dominance, and suddenly it's 1-1 at half time. We've still got the email saying should have been a goal, didn't get it. That happens, and it's disappointing at the time, but it'll have no reflection or nothing to do with what happens on Saturday. I've not even asked who the referee is. I've given up on asking now. I think we just take what we've got and we go on with it, and we try to be effective. What I do know is we turned up at Wigan last week. There was a very good referee when we win the game. We turned up recently and drawn and got beaten, and there's been good referees playing as well. So all we want is an official who calls it right on Saturday.
I mean, it was a fantastic performance on Saturday with Wigan. We said that. That's got to give you confidence going into what we've already said is a huge month for the club.
Yeah, I think so. I think when you see a record such as Wigan's, where they've lost 2 games in 16 prior to us turning up, one against Manchester United in the Cup and the other against Derby. And I went back and watched Paul Warren's comments after that game. They won 1-0 at Wigan, so lost 5-1. They got outplayed. But the game's about winning at the stage of the season, and Warren done brilliantly to get his team that 3 points. Our performance was good at Wigan. It was good in different spells in the game. Asked for character and passion and commitment to give a penalty away in 2 minutes or 3 minutes, whatever it is on the clock, and get ourselves back in the game and then make a big individual error and we go back 2-1 down. But it's interesting, the players who we attributed to making individual errors then stood up and were very good for the rest of the performances on the pitch. So we've got great spirit in our camp. We're still the team that no one likes to see up there. We're still the one team that no one wants in there. We're still the team we can be really in the playoffs with a positive result on Saturday, really in there. With games in hand now, it's interesting that we're the team that's catching up in terms of games. But we are the team, once again, that people expect an away win here on Saturday. People expect Blackpool to come and beat us. And if that's the case, we'll dust ourselves down and we'll go against on Tuesday. But from our point of view, it's one game at a time. And You know, if we're not in squeaky bum time, certainly some of the managers at the top end of squeaky bum times with the money they've spent, but we're getting to squeaky bum time where you have to deliver results. If you want to be in the picture come March and April when it really matters.
Yeah, I've just spoken to Carl Piagiani there, and I mentioned the home form, which it sounds harsh to say that it's been poor because you've only lost once, but we've said before, too many draws so far at home.
Yeah, too many draws. I've always said draws home and away get you the sack. They don't get you praise. I think there was one stage of the season, this club in this league had gone 17 unbeaten, and the local press in that area were writing, we're going to build statues, and I thought they'd drawn about 11 of them. It wasn't good at all. Yeah, unbeaten was great. You need to win games, especially at this stage of the season. And what we do now is not just us, but we're getting into this period in February now where February and the other part of March are back to 2 games a week. And if you go back to my words in the press and privately to the players, probably 4 or 5 weeks ago, when you go to 1 game a week that we've been, it takes a lot for that table to turn. It takes a lot. If we're chasing, even if you win, it takes a lot to play that catch-up zone. It takes a lot for you to move in the table. Now we're going to 2 games a week from this week coming. The table moves very quickly. You know, suddenly a team has a good week and wins three games. They go from 17 to the edge of the playoffs. You can go from being in the playoffs to 14th and 15th. That's how quickly the table could work. So, but the secret behind it all is 1 game at a time. And their only focus, quite rightfully, is Blackpool on Saturday. And they come with an array of talent. They could pick an 11 that could surprise us, could pick 11 that we expect, but they've got multiple options.
Just talking as well, Boxing Day was the last time we had a home game. It's Stevenage. It should be bouncing the atmosphere.
Well, we've all got paid, so it's a good job Phil ain't skint. Because I know maybe when I was before, we wouldn't have been getting paid. No, listen, it was disappointing factors winning those games off, particularly Barnsley with the late cancellation. I've always said it. I feel for us all, but I feel for supporters who spend the money. It's our job. We come, you come, I come. But I feel for that. But there'll be a large percentage of Stevenage Football Club supporters who cannot wait to be at the Lamex on Saturday. And it's a great game, isn't it? We're playing against a former Premier League team to cement ourselves in the playoffs with 7-8 weeks of the season to go. If it's a normal season. I don't want it to be 7 or 8 weeks. But from our point of view, that's fantastic. But all we did by winning at Wigan, I said it after the game, I said it to the players before the game, give yourselves an opportunity in February. Give yourselves an opportunity to go in February and make a real difference and be a team that suddenly people expect to be in there rather than why they're still there.